Amy, thanks for coming in to talk with me today. What I'm going to do with you is a risk needs assessment. And what this is designed to do is to give me a better picture of you and what some of your needs are so that I might be able to link you to some programs and services while you're here. So we might be able to help you be more successful when you leave.
Okay.
It's going to take about 30 to 45 minutes to go through this process. And I'm going to ask you questions about your current offense, criminal history, education, employment. I'll ask questions about where you were living, some questions about kind of your mental health and how you're feeling about things. I'll ask questions about your friends, your family. And I'm also going to ask some questions about abuse, whether you've ever experienced physical or sexual abuse. When we get to those sections, if those questions are too difficult to answer, we can just move on and not answer those. And I'll remind you of that when we get to those.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Okay. All right. So I know your name is Amy.
Yes.
Can you tell me what your ID number is here?
It's a 6816.
6816. And your date of birth?
11/01/1988.
Okay. And how old does that make you?
23.
Great. Okay. Why don't we start by just telling me a little bit about how you wound up here, a little bit about what happened.
Well, I was doing heroin a lot. I was addicted to heroin, and I was going to Kroger's. Mind you, I was not allowed in that Kroger's because I have a previous theft charge. So they told me not to go into any Kroger's. I did anyways because I don't know. It was just convenient for me, I guess, at the time. Unfortunately, I had 6 caps of heroin in my purse and a rig and a bottle full of Klonopins that were not prescribed to me. So I go in and I'm just getting batteries. I go in and the batteries are in front. So I go get the batteries and I go straight to the self-checkout line. The man in front of me was the undercover cop from a different Kroger's, and he was grocery shopping there. He recognized me. He said, he kept staring at me, and I didn't know why, but then finally he came over and he was like, you're not supposed to be in here. And then I just realized who he was, and I freaked out. I'm like, I'm so sorry, I did not steal anything, I did nothing wrong, just please let me leave. And if I hadn't had that stuff on me, it would have just been a criminal trespassing, like a misdemeanor, I think. And well, he's like, I watched you, and I know you didn't, but just for safety purposes or whatever, the manager of the store had to come get me, and they took me up and they said, can we search your purse? And I didn't want them to because I knew that stuff was in it, but they would not let me go until they searched my purse to make sure I didn't steal anything, and that's when they found that. So I got possession, aggravated possession charge.
So your current offense then is aggravated possession?
Yes, it's a felony 5.
Okay. All right. Was anyone else involved in this, or were you just there by yourself?
It was just me.
Okay. Was anyone affected or hurt by your offense?
My family was very hurt. Me being away from them, my daughter especially. She's used to having me there all the time. I raised her by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So she was probably very hurt.
Okay.
And my mom, my father, they were probably very disappointed in me. And had to be away from me for a while because I'm in jail.
Okay. Tell me about your experience with the criminal justice system. Do you feel like you were treated fairly?
In some situations I was, because, let me put it this way. When I'm in jail, okay, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. That's not how it is. Well, not with me in my situation. It was more like I was guilty until proven innocent. And since I was guilty, I was treated that way. The COs and stuff at the jail that I was at, you're just a number. You're really not a person. I mean, some of them talk to you. I can't say all of them are like that. Some of them talk to you and treat you humanely, but a lot of them, it's just a job to them. They bark orders at you and just treat you like you're an animal, a caged animal. Sometimes you feel that way. It's not very clean. Just things that we have to endure are just really disgusting sometimes, and they don't care. I mean, they're not the ones who have to live in it. Some of them act like we're lucky to be locked up because I guess they imagine all of us as homeless or just whatever, and like we don't have a home to go to. And they're like, well, you're lucky you have a bed and you're warm and stuff like that. And I agree in some ways because there are people out there and we are lucky that we have heat and, you know, food and stuff like that. I understand that, but I just don't like the way that this one particular CEO treated me and acted like I was lucky to be there and just all this stuff and just talking to me badly. The judge, I mean, they don't really, I wrote a letter to him and I thought maybe it would affect the outcome, but it really didn't. So I don't really think they get to know you on a personal level, but how could they? You know, there's so many people that is getting in trouble. So, I mean, I understand that I committed the offense and, you know, there is consequences for that. And I think it was fair. He gave me a chance on probation. I messed up the probation. And then he put me in treatment, and it's what I needed.
Okay. How about your attorney? Do you feel like your attorney did a nice job representing you?
As much, I didn't pay for the attorney, so I think that has a lot to do with it. He was just a court appointed. As to where, actually, my first attorney that I had did a very good job, the one that got me on probation. He seemed like he cared. He called me back when I called him. You know, he just seemed like he was concerned and actually, you know, cared about the outcome of my trial. But you know, it just really depends. It really depends. But money is a big factor.
Okay. Do you feel overall like the sentence is fair then, or that it's not fair?
Now, at this point in time, I feel that it's very fair. At the time, I didn't care. I just didn't want to be locked up, and I was bitter about it, so I didn't feel that it was fair. But now that I'm in my right mind, yeah, I feel that it is fair.
Okay. Looking back at that offense, when it took place, and everything that was going on for you at that time, how do you feel about it now?
I'm ashamed. I'm very disgusted with myself. I did a lot of bad, terrible things that I shouldn't have done that I would never do in my right mind. I didn't care. I was on heroin. That was my love. That was, you know, basically I was married to the streets. I didn't care about anybody. I didn't care about my daughter. I didn't care. I mean, I took care of her in the best way I knew how, and I never could have admit this before, but now that I've been through treatment and stuff, I chose drugs over my daughter. I did. And I never want to do that again. It's just, you know, amazing. I heard a lot. I kept telling myself, I'm not hurting nobody. I'm not hurting nobody. That's the point. I love you. That's going to hurt them.
Okay. You mentioned that you had had this situation with Kroger. So this was not your first offense that you've ever been in trouble for?
No, I had one prior offense. It was a misdemeanor 4. It was a theft.
Okay. So you have one prior misdemeanor.
Yeah, this is my first felony though, felony 5.
Okay, all right. And so no other prior felonies, and the misdemeanor theft is the only other thing
Yes.
you've ever been arrested for?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever been on probation before?
For the theft I was.
Okay. And how did that experience go for you?
It was a pain in my butt, really. I hated it.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't live near the place that I had to report to. I didn't have a car at the time, so I'd always have to find rides. Like my parents would have to take off work to take me. I didn't have no money to pay the fines, and then I kept back in front of the judge because I either did fines or I missed an appointment. It was just a pain in the butt.
Did you ever get violated while you were on probation?
Yes, when I caught my felony.
Okay, so you were revoked, or was it suspended?
They just put me back on probation. They told me when I leave here at River City, I'm supposed to report within 24 hours, so I'm still on probation.
Okay.
For that.
But they filed an official violation for it?
Yes, ma'am, they did.
Okay. Any other violations while you were on probation for dirty urine screens, anything like that?
No, because I actually, I did, the urine screen was dirty for heroin,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a prescription of Vicodin. I made sure I went to the hospital. I knew that I had to see him.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, I think they have different tests now that actually can show the difference between pain pills and heroin,
Mhm.
but back then they didn't, so it just showed the, whatever it is, opiates.
Okay.
So I was okay because I had that prescription.
All right. And have you ever been incarcerated before, or is this the first time?
No, for my theft, I was incarcerated for 10 days and then put on probation. And then for this felony, I was incarcerated for 3 months and put on probation. And then I violated. So now I'm here at River City, and I'm actually going on 8 months I've been locked up.
Okay. For those 10 days, was that after your sentence that they said, okay, you're going to serve 10 days and then you're going to go out on probation? Or were you just inside for 10 days before you got your probation
No,
sentence?
she sentenced me to 30 days in probation, but I wrote her a letter and she let me out at 10.
Okay, all right. When you were locked up before, did you ever receive any conduct violations, disciplinary infractions, anything like
I
that?
was always in the hole
Okay.
for different things.
What sorts of things?
Fighting, sex,
Okay,
basically anything. I was very unruly
all right.
and I didn't like authority.
Okay. You said fighting. What about contraband? Did you ever get in trouble for that?
One time I put a tattoo on myself, so I had like a staple and some ink and stuff, so yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. When you were incarcerated, were you in jail or were you in prison?
Jail.
In jail.
Okay, county jail.
And during the most recent time that you've been incarcerated here now, have you ever gotten any conduct violations while you've been here?
Here at River City? Yes, I got shirted, which that means I'm phase dropped.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 different phases here. And I got shirted for 10 days because I lost control. I was angry and I threw a binder across the room.
Okay.
I got handcuffed and took to seg.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now that we've talked about this, I want to ask just a few more questions about your criminal history. That theft charge was the first time that you've ever been arrested, is that right?
Yes.
How old were you when that happened?
19.
Okay. And you said you're 23 now?
Yes.
You've got 1 felony, which is the current one, and you had 1 misdemeanor prior to that. How long has it been? You haven't actually been to prison. How long has it been since your last conviction? So for that theft conviction? About 4 years?
Yes,
Does that seem
4
right?
years.
Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions now about your education and your employment.
Okay.
I'm just trying to get a picture of how that looks for you. Do you have any trouble reading or writing? For example, if I give you a newspaper right now, would you have any problems reading it?
Not at all.
Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with any sort of a learning disability, ADHD, dyslexia, anything like that? Ever attended any special education classes or received any additional assistance while you were in school?
No.
How far did you go in school?
I got my GED.
Okay, you have a GED?
And I went to Miami University
Okay.
and took a journalism class and just my basic like math, English,
Okay.
but I didn't finish.
Okay, how many classes would you say you took there?
Probably a semester.
A semester, you did a full semester?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have any sort of job-related licenses, certificates, anything that could help you get a job?
No.
Okay. Do you have any plans to go back and finish college? when you're
Yes, absolutely.
done? Okay. Do you know what you want to go to school for?
Actually, I kind of wanted to work with addicts, like teenagers, or I don't know exactly what field. I guess I'd be taking like sociology and stuff like that. I'm not
Okay.
sure, but I also loved journalism. I've already taken courses in that. I'd love to be a photojournalist, like work for a magazine or a newspaper.
Mm-hmm. So a couple different interests there.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Do you have any other kind of educational plans or job plans for the future? Just maybe considering college then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about work. So say the year before you came in here, were you employed anywhere?
No.
Okay.
No, pretty much, after I caught that theft charge, nobody wanted to hire me.
Okay.
Because I was honest and I put my charges and stuff like that, and they would ask me about them, which normally they only ask for felonies, and I didn't have a felony at the time, but the reason I stole obviously was because I was addicted to drugs. So that was really the only thing I cared about. I didn't have time in my schedule to work or look for a job or anything like that.
So how long has it been since you've had a job?
Since I was 18.
Okay, all right.
I stayed at home and took care of my daughter for a long time.
So you were having some trouble though finding work
Yes.
and getting a job?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Before you came here, did you own or lease a car or an automobile?
I did one time and I totaled it.
Okay, how long ago was that been?
2 years.
2 years ago, okay. How about like a checking account or a savings account? Did you have either of those?
Yes.
Did you have a checking account there?
Yeah.
And a savings account
Yes.
as well? Okay.
Nothing was in it ever, hardly.
Okay. But you had accounts?
But I had one.
All right. Were you able to pay your bills without help from family and friends?
No.
Or you needed assistance
Yes.
from them? Okay. Since you've been an adult, turned 18, have you ever been homeless or lived in a shelter before?
I haven't lived in a shelter, but I've been homeless and I've had to stay with friends when I was
Okay.
pregnant.
Okay. Are you worried about making ends meet when you get out of here?
Terrified.
Terrified, okay, a lot. And you mentioned that you have a daughter. Are you going to be her sole provider when you're released?
Yeah, my ex-husband has her right now, so he is providing for her now, but yeah, I still have custody because we're not divorced yet.
Okay.
So we both have custody, and yeah, I will
So
be
you'll be taking over then once you get out.
helping anyways.
Helping anyway, at least sharing responsibilities.
Yes.
Do you know if your daughter has medical insurance?
Through Job and Family Services. She
Okay.
did, yeah.
All right. And how about you? Are you going to have medical insurance? when you get
Probably
out?
not.
Okay. Do you have a guess on how much money you're going to be making when you get out of here? I don't know if you have a job lined up or anything.
About $8 an hour.
Okay. And so working about 40 hours a
Mhm.
week? Okay. I'm trying to think. So $8 an hour, 40 hours a week. It's about $320 a week. Doing some quick math here. All right. So a little over about $10,000 a year. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you plan on applying for any kind of public assistance?
I don't know, honestly. Probably, I might need help for a little while till I get on my feet, like maybe food stamps, medical, and stuff like that. I'm gonna see if I'm eligible. I just don't know if I will be.
Okay. So probably food stamps. Do you think you'll need any sort of public housing?
No.
Okay. Got something lined up there.
Yeah.
All right. In terms of other benefits, you said maybe food stamps. Are there any others that you think that you might need?
No, really the only thing I just have to, my main focus is staying sober, so I'm just gonna be going to like church and going to a lot of NA meetings, AA meetings around town. So as far as financial, not really. I just want to work, want the job that I have lined up, and
Okay.
yeah.
Before you came here, did you have any recent problems with things like eviction, collections agencies calling, that
Yes.
sort of thing? Yeah,
Yes,
a lot
I
of
got
that.
evicted from every apartment or house I rented.
Okay. And do you live in a household where at least one person in that household works full-time year-round?
I will be, yes.
You will be, okay. I want to ask a little bit about housing and where you're going to be living. Where you were living before you came here. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, it was a efficiency apartment. It was on a bad street where prostitutes would walk up and down. I was actually one of those. So it had roaches, mice. I couldn't even leave a sandwich on the counter. I would go to like do something for my daughter and come back, and it would have roaches crawling all over it. It was I got bed bugs eventually. It was just, it's not that I wasn't clean, because I was. I cleaned and stuff. It's just my neighbors and stuff like that. And it just was not a very nice area. It wasn't a very safe area. There's gunshots going off all the time, and people breaking into things, stealing things, stuff like that.
Did you feel safe living there?
I didn't care.
Okay.
I didn't care at the time. I was too high to care.
Looking back now, you don't think it was a safe
I
place? though?
absolutely don't think it was a safe place, and I can't believe that I ever had my daughter in a place like that.
Okay. How about violence in your home? Was there any violence going on?
Yeah, my husband used to beat me.
Okay.
We just get in fights. I mean, not that he would just beat me, I would hit him too, but we would get in fights all the time.
Okay. How about your substance abuse? Was that going on within the home as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We both was addicted to pain pills at first, and then we started shooting heroin.
Okay. All right. How long did you live there?
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
At that particular apartment, yeah.
Okay. And when you're released from here, are you going to be living on your own or living with someone else?
My mother has a apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment in a pretty nice neighborhood, and she has a room for me. She wants me to live with her, and I'm gonna work with, at my job.
Okay.
And when I want to move out, I can, but right now, that's where I'm gonna be
You're
living.
going to stay with your mom? Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. It's really nice that you've got her there for you.
Yeah, I'm very blessed.
Do you have any worries about that situation, about where you're going to be living?
Not really. I mean, it's a nicer neighborhood, but it's still in the same city as where I'm from, and where I kind of like my old stomping ground, so to speak. I am scared about the people that I'm going to run into, maybe offering me drugs or, asking me to go to the bar with them or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's a very big worry for me.
Any concerns about your safety?
No, I don't. I think it's pretty well secure, because the building, even my mom said, like, you have to have a key to even get in the building, let alone your own apartment. You have to have a key to get in the building, so.
So no safety concerns.
Right.
In the, say, year and a half before you came in here, was there domestic violence going on in your home? I know you mentioned your...
Until I made my husband leave, yes.
Okay. In the neighborhood where you were living, did you see the police there a lot?
Constantly.
Constantly.
They were always
What
there.
about the neighborhood where your mom is living?
No, not so much.
Okay. All right. I want to go back to this idea of whether you felt safe living there.
Okay.
At your old home. You said you didn't care. Do you think that there were times where you felt unsafe there, or do you think it just wasn't something that you even thought about?
I mean, yeah. I mean, my heart would pound, and sometimes I would, shake, because I was kind of. It's not so much for me, but my daughter. Like, my
Okay.
baby girl's laying in the bed asleep, and I see cop lights outside, and I hear gunshots. I'm just thinking, wow, what if a bullet comes through the window, or what if some crazy person runs in? Because I've had that happen before.
Right.
And try to hide in my bathroom. And then all the cops come in, and there's, and then my daughter having to see that kind of stuff. So I guess I did when it came to her.
Okay.
But if she was not there,
We're
I
worried
didn't even
about
think of
yourself.
myself. I was not.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask some questions now about your friends.
Okay.
So any of the people that you kind of spend your time with or associate with.
Okay.
Any of your close friends on the outside, have they ever been in trouble with the police?
Yes.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Okay. Any of them done prison time before?
Yes.
Have you ever committed an offense with any of your friends? Whether you were ever arrested for that offense
Right.
or
Yes.
not? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you have any friends who didn't really engage in that lifestyle? Friends who weren't doing drugs, straight friends, if you will, or clean friends?
I really didn't, honestly. Now that I look back, it's kind of crazy, but no, all my high school friends. See, I left home when I was 15,
Okay.
when I was a freshman, and I just started hanging out with a lot of older people.
Mhm.
So no, I didn't have any straight friends.
Did you have any friends who were supportive of you being straight?
I
Or
mean, We
they all
never really
kind of-
talked about it. We were all just kind of mixed up in the
Same business.
dope game.
Okay. And those were folks who were using drugs and alcohol and all of that as well?
Yes.
Okay. And you said probably most of them have been involved with the police at some point
Yes.
in time?
Yes.
Any of them that you know if have been on probation or parole before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to some questions now about how you feel. Questions about things like anger, depression, other mental health issues that a lot of women experience.
Okay.
So I guess the first question is going to be about anger. Would you describe yourself as having a strong temper?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have trouble controlling it when you get upset?
I used to.
Okay.
Now that I'm in treatment, I've learned ways to cope.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned, basically I've learned the signs. Before I get to that point, I can say, whoa, I need to back off. I need to take a break, or I need to breathe deeply. I've learned ways to kind of prevent that from happening.
Okay.
Me getting to that point of explosion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay. In the past 3 years, have you ever hit anyone, hurt anyone, friends, family, anything
Yes.
like that? Yeah. All right. Any time where the police were called or Child or Family Services called as a result of that?
of hitting,
Or
yes.
just of your temper?
Me and my husband.
Okay.
Fighting, yes.
Anything like that happen in the past 6 months?
No, I've been locked up.
Okay, been in here the whole time. And nothing, no fights while you've been in here?
Not in River City, no.
Okay. Any time in the past 6 months where maybe you were angry and you felt like you didn't hit anyone or get to that level, but you felt like you just got too aggressive?
Yeah, when I threw my binder across
Okay.
the room.
All right. When the present offense happened, when you were in Kroger's and everything, were you angry or upset at the time?
Yes, I was very angry. I was like, are you serious? Why did you have to look in my purse? I mean, I didn't steal nothing. I was blaming everybody around me.
Mhm.
And I was mad. I was very mad.
Okay. The offense itself, though, wasn't motivated by anger,
No.
having the drugs on you, that sort of thing.
I mean, don't get me wrong, any emotion I felt, whether it be happy, anger, sad, pain, whatever I used,
Okay.
it was an excuse.
Mhm.
Oh, let's celebrate, I'm happy, or oh, I'm too sad to deal with this, let's get high.
Okay. And you mentioned how things have improved since you've been in here. Were you in some sort of an anger management program
Yes,
here?
ma'am, I was.
Okay. And you felt like that's helped?
Yes, yes.
Great. Have you ever seen a mental health counselor, a therapist, psychiatrist, anything like that before?
When I was out of here, when I was 18, I started going to forensic and mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a counselor and a case manager and a psychiatrist there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kept missing the appointments because basically I wasn't interested in talking to the counselor. I just wanted the drugs
Mm-hmm.
from the psychiatrist. So they kind of just kept letting me see the doctor, and I didn't have to see the case manager or counselor. So I didn't really even get to work on my issues or talk about anything that I think I needed to.
Okay. And they were prescribing medication for you
Yes,
then?
ma'am.
Ever a time when you've seen things, heard voices that weren't really there?
Not that I recall.
Okay. Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness?
I have panic attacks, and I'm bipolar.
Okay. Any time where these sorts of things have ever escalated to the point that you've been in a mental health unit in a hospital before?
I had to go for 72 hours
Okay.
before.
Had a little hold there.
Yeah.
Any time where you've ever attempted suicide?
Yes.
Okay. All right. How about how you've been feeling over the past couple of days? Any problems concentrating, staying focused?
No, I'm just really nervous because I have my out date now. So I'm just
so
really-
nervous about release.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
just really nervous about that.
Problems with mood swings, a lot of ups and downs.
I mean, I'm not sleeping as much as I should be, so sometimes I'll get kind of annoyed, frustrated easily. But now that I know, how to not let it get to that level to where I freak out,
Okay.
I can kind of keep it on a even keel.
Okay. How about your appetite? Are you eating more than normal, eating less than normal, eating about normal?
Since I've been here at River City, I eat more than I should. It's almost like because I take my addiction other ways. Take it out on food.
How about having any thoughts that others are out to harm you? Something going on?
Like paranoid or nothing. No.
Okay. All right. Having fears about the future that you think are hard to cope with?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you mentioned some trouble sleeping. Is that because you're too worried about things?
I think so. I think that's all it is.
All right. Do you have any trouble in the morning kind of getting up, getting going about your day?
No, I kind of got on a routine, a schedule here, and I'm used to getting up every morning. And
okay. And so you said that you've never seen things, heard voices that weren't really there, nothing like that in the last couple days. Are you taking any kind of prescribed medication right now? You mentioned having been diagnosed as bipolar and having some anxiety. Anything that you're on right now to help with that?
No, when I first got here, I was on some stuff and it actually made me feel worse and made me more aggressive. That was the time period where I threw my binder. And I just decided one day, I can learn different ways to cope with this. I don't have to take medicine all the time. I quit all of it and I feel great.
And you feel good? You don't feel like you need anything right now? Okay, good. Having any suicidal thoughts recently?
No.
This is the section I mentioned where I was going to ask you about whether you've ever experienced any abuse before in your life. There's only 4 questions here. I'm going to ask about physical and sexual abuse when you were a child and when you were an adult.
Okay.
If these are too difficult to answer, just let me know and we can move on. And I want you to understand that the types of experiences that we consider to be abusive include hitting, slapping, pushing, kicking, even someone threatening to hurt you. Okay? Have you ever experienced physical abuse as an adult?
Yes.
And what about as a child?
Yes.
Have you ever experienced sexual abuse as an adult?
Yes.
And as a child?
No.
Okay. A lot of women that we talk to tell us that sometime in their life they had something happen to them that was particularly horrible or upsetting to them. But even though it happened to them a while ago, they still have problems with it now. Things like they have nightmares, or they think about it when they don't want to. They try to go out of their way to avoid situations that might remind them of it, or they try really hard not to think about it. Or they're constantly on guard, real watchful and easily startled. Or some of them say that they feel numb and really detached from their surroundings. Do you have anything like that going on for you?
Well, now that I'm not on drugs, I'm just so used to numbing all my emotions that when I first got here, if I would get emotional or cry over something, it would be for like a long time, like 7 hours or something. It's not normal, to do that, to be that down. I'm either really down or really up. So I just I had to learn how to kind of start feeling again. And there are things that has happened to me that I don't want to think about. But there's good things too, and that's the main thing. You can't just focus on the bad things. They're gonna come up. You're gonna have dreams. You're gonna think about them, but it's just how you deal with it. Your reaction to things. You can't allow others to make you feel a certain way. You are the only one in control of yourself. So it's just all about control.
You mentioned that was when you first came in here, that you were crying a lot. So any problems, say, in the past month?
I have dreams, like using dreams, and dreams like when I was a prostitute, things have happened to me that were bad, and I have dreams about that.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
All right. All right. Any problems right now with anyone stalking you, emotionally abusing you? Any
No.
concerns about your safety?
No.
Just mixed up here. I want to ask you some questions about drug and alcohol use.
Okay.
That's a big issue for a lot of women.
Yes.
Have you been to any sort of treatment before coming here?
No, I'm actually was supposed to go to outpatient treatment, and that's one of the reasons why I violated my probation, because I didn't go.
Okay. And I know it was an offense that was related to drugs.
Yes.
In the past 6 months, any violations related to drug use?
No.
Okay. Any dirty urine screens in the past 6 months?
No.
Okay. Ever a time where the drugs or alcohol made it difficult for you to work or go to school?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day I couldn't do any normal function.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Friends and family ever say they were concerned about your using and how much you were using?
Yes.
Yeah. If you start using, do you have difficulty stopping?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very impulsive.
Okay. And I know you've mentioned that you've got a number of friends who use as well.
I wouldn't call them friends, but
Okay.
yeah.
Folks you're
acquaintances.
around them. Okay.
Yeah.
People are around them. In the past 6 months, have you missed any treatment appointments, stopped going to groups, anything like that?
No.
How about health or emotional problems? Have you ever experienced any health or emotional problems related to using drugs or alcohol?
Yeah, I got an abscess on my arm that I had to have surgery on because it was so close to my vein. What else? I have hepatitis C now for the rest of my life for shooting up with
Okay.
needles. And then just like bumps and bruises from me falling down when I'm high and stuff
Sure.
like that.
How about marital or family fights? Any of those fueled by alcohol?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Financial problems from using?
Yeah.
Anyone in your home use? I guess you're going to go live with your mom now, so mom doesn't use.
Yeah.
And I know you said you were using heroin. Were there other things that you were using as well?
I used basically anything that was put in front of me I would use, but heroin was my choice of drug, the one that I would go after.
Okay. When you were using them most frequently, how often were you using?
Every day, I was doing a lot. I was doing like 3 grams a day.
Okay. And are you currently using anything?
No.
Excuse me. Do you have any substance abuse related offenses on your record outside of your current offense?
No.
Any feelings right now when you wake up in the morning that you want to use drugs as soon as you wake up?
I think about it. I just think about it. It's
Still
not
there.
that I want to use, it's just something that I guess I'm just used to. So, like, say I have a dream of using or something, I'll go that day and just think about it. Yeah, I do think about it. I can't lie.
So the urge is still there.
Yes, yes it is. And I think I'm gonna have to fight it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
That's what addiction is.
Long battle.
Yeah.
Okay. The next couple sections, I'm going to ask you about relationships in your life, relationships with significant others, with your children, and with your family.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with significant others. So you said that you're still currently married.
Yeah, legally.
Legally you're married, but you're separated from your husband.
Yes.
Okay. Are you involved with anyone else?
No.
Okay. And how long have you been involved with your husband?
7 years.
Okay. And how do you feel about this relationship right now?
He actually graduated from River City last year,
Okay.
and he stayed sober, and he's taking care of my daughter right now. I respect him as a father. I hate him as a husband.
Okay.
But we're just trying to get along. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of hatred, there's a lot of bitterness there. We did a lot of bad things to each other. And for a long time I blamed my substance abuse on him because he's older than me, a lot older than me. He's 12 years older than me. And when he met me when I was like 17, he introduced me to stuff. But now that I'm here, I know I had the choice. And we learned that as addicts, our behavior, things we do when we're like young, even just, you know, in school and stuff like that is way before, you know, you even pick up a drug. So I can't blame him for everything. So I'm kind of letting that anger go. I'm trying to.
Do you feel happy about that relationship right now, or satisfied with the relationship?
I'm satisfied with it for now.
Okay.
The only thing I don't like is that he's with another woman. Not that I care about that, but it just seemed too soon to me. I literally like kicked him out, and a week later he had another woman, and that didn't even bother me. It was the fact that he had her around my daughter.
Okay.
And right now, him and her are the ones raising my daughter, and she's calling her stepmom and stuff like that. I don't even know this woman, and I don't really think he does either.
Okay.
And that bothers me.
Okay. How do you feel about yourself when you're not in a relationship?
Honestly, I like not being in a relationship. I don't like to commit to things. I love having sex with different people. I get bored easily, just stuff like that.
How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel okay about yourself not being part of a relationship?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I've always been independent. I've always taken care of myself. So.
Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about your daughter.
Okay.
How old is she?
She is 4.
4. That's a fun age.
Yeah.
So you're planning on having, you said you still have custody of her, and you're planning on having physical custody of her again once you're out of here?
Yes.
How often do you have contact with her now?
She comes to see me every Saturday.
Okay, so every week you get to see her?
Yes.
Are you still involved in important decisions about her, school related? She's not in school yet.
Yeah, she's not in school yet.
But maybe health related?
Yes. Yeah, when she's sick or something, you know, when I call, they'll tell me about it, and he'll say, you know, what do you think we should do?
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, great. Do you feel prepared to be a good parent?
Yes. I know that when I first get out, I'm gonna have to just focus on myself, and as selfish as that may seem, the fact of the matter is I can't be a mom if I am not sober and if I'm not doing right. So in the long run and in the big picture, focusing on myself is the right thing to do. I have to fix myself so that I can be a good mom.
Before you were arrested, did you have enough support from your daughter's father?
No.
Did you feel like you were raising her all on your own, like you had no help from others?
Yes.
Do you consider yourself to be a single parent?
Not now, but before, yeah.
Okay. When you had custody of your daughter, physical custody, and were taking care of her, did you ever feel like she was too difficult to manage?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Does she have any sort of behavioral problems?
No, it was my problem, not hers.
Ever a time when you were taking care of her where you felt so stressed out or so desperate that you said, I just want to run away?
Yes.
Have you ever been investigated for abuse or neglect before?
Yes.
And any problems obtaining or maintaining custody of her?
No, they always found that the allegations weren't true.
All right, let's talk about your immediate family. So mom, dad, sisters, brothers, could be step siblings, whoever you consider to be your immediate family.
Okay.
How's your relationship with your parents? You said you're going to go stay with your mom.
Yeah, I'm very close with my mom. I see her more as a sister than I do a mom. Basically, when I was 9 years old, my dad left, so my parents have been divorced since I was 9.
Okay.
My dad kind of moved in with his own stepfamily, my stepfamily, so he kind of wasn't in my life when I was young. But now that I'm older, I see that he is a very good man. He loves me and supports me through everything, and I respect him very much. And I love my mom very much. She's my best friend.
Okay. So you guys seem to get along most of the time?
Most of the time. I mean, me and my mom fight, you know, but nothing unhealthily.
Okay.
Just minor arguments.
Once in a while there's disagreements, but you would say most of the time you
Most
guys
of the
get
time we get
along.
along, yeah.
Okay, and does the same go for your dad, or do you You guys fight more often?
We don't fight.
Okay.
Ever.
How about siblings? Are you an only child or?
I have two brothers, two older brothers.
Okay, and how do you get along with them?
I love them dearly. I'm more closer with the one that's younger. They're both a lot older than me. So my oldest brother moved away when I was very young, so I am not very close to him, but I still love him, you know. But I'm really close to my other brother. He actually, you know, he keeps in contact with me here, and we're planning a camping trip when I get out of here and stuff.
Okay, great. How often are you in contact with your siblings or your parents now that you're here?
My mom I call almost every day. My
Okay.
dad I call like once a week.
Okay.
My brother I just write back and forth to
Mhm.
him.
Do you have any of them, either your brothers or your parents, refuse to talk to you right now? They're mad about what's going on.
My oldest brother was mad at me, the one that I wasn't very close to, and he wouldn't talk to me or talk about me, or if somebody would mention me in a conversation, he would kind of just go away from it. But just like a week ago, which it was very touching, because he wrote me a letter and he's like, I'm sorry that I'm not there for you, because I know you're trying to get better, and you know I should support you instead of go against you.
So that's kind of a new thing.
Yeah, it shocked me, honestly.
It's got to be good for you.
It is, because they don't understand, you know, they don't have a problem, you know, with addiction and stuff like that. It literally, you know, it's just so hard. It is, it's very hard, and I never wanted to hurt anybody. It just happened that way, and I don't want to be this way, and it's just so hard to get better when you have nobody that supports you or loves you.
Yeah.
When you feel like you're alone, because then you just feel like you don't care, you know?
And it sounds like you've got that support there. You've got
Very fortunate to have my mom and my dad, yeah.
How do they feel about you participating in treatment programs here? Are they supportive of that?
Yes.
And I know you said they've been here to visit because they brought your daughter.
Yes.
Is it who usually brings your daughter?
My mom, but then my dad comes too. They
Okay.
meet here.
They all meet here?
Yeah.
Okay. And your mom has offered to help you get on your feet when you get out of here with a place to live. Anyone in your family have a criminal history?
Not that I know of.
Okay. And how's it when you talk to your family members? Are they generally supportive of you, or do they kind of tend to be very critical of you?
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, they'll tell me I'm wrong. But if I'm right, they'll, you know, go along with me and make me feel good about it.
How are the conversations around, say, your substance abuse? Are they supportive of you saying, you know, things like, you know, you're trying to get better, you're doing treatment, and they encourage that, or are they critical of that?
They're supportive. They're supportive. My mom, me and my dad, we really don't talk about stuff like that.
Okay.
It's just, I don't know why, but it's really hard for me to open up to my father. It's hard for me to talk about personal things like that with my father. But my mom, yeah, she's definitely supportive when we talk about stuff like that.
Okay, great. All right, well, that's the end of the interview portion. The next thing that I'm going to give you is a survey for you to complete. I'm going to walk you through this here. The first page is going to ask you about relationships that you've been involved in with significant others throughout your life.
Okay.
The second page is going to ask you kind of about how you feel about your ability to accomplish goals that you set for yourself or tasks. This third page, on the back, is going to ask about any experiences of abuse that happened in your life when you were a child.
Okay.
And the same thing is going to go here, but this is since you've been an adult.
Okay.
And this last page is going to ask you about parenting, about taking care of your daughter, and just some questions about how you kind of deal with the stress of being a mom.
Okay.
Okay?